Watch out, Blue Bloods. Make way for the New Bloods. DeLuna Coffee adds to their Blue Angels collection with their Fat Albert blend, a classic combination of Guatemalan and Brazilian beans. It is truly their roaster's choice. And hey, check it out. K-Cups of it, along with Voodoo and Red, White, and Brew, are buy one, get one free. So go check it out over at DeLunaCoffee.com.
From Tally to Cali,
It's time
to wake up.
Wake up! Wake up!
Warchant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
And this is Wake Up Warchant, fueled by DeLuna Coffee.
Coffee's for closers only.
Now here's Warchant.com's Aslan Hajavandi.
And Corey Clark.
Don't you know we always coming through? Me and my crew, let me hear you say fire!
Wake up! What's up, everybody? It's Wake Up Warchant. It's fueled by DeLuna Coffee. DeLunaCoffee.com. Come explore our world of coffee. Promo code is Warchant15. Go over there, get you some. Get the Warchant bundle. Get the tumbler. Show your support for DeLuna and Wake Up, but for DeLuna. DeLunaCoffee.com. Support our YouTube channel. Hit the thumbs up if you're listening to this on YouTube. Maybe even subscribe to our YouTube channel. Totally free. We're not tracking you or anything. Just subscribe to it. It would be cool. Numbers grow. We like when numbers grow. We like when Corey Clark shows up. He's always here. Corey, what's up, man? How are you?
What's up, buddy? How are you doing? All right?
Good. I mean, dude, by the time everybody hears this, your nose is going to be back to Brad Pitt, Robert Redford status. I just got countertops laid here on Monday afternoon. I mean, life is looking good right now for us.
Things are picking up. Maybe not on the team we talk about and cover, but everything else. My stitches are going to be out here later this afternoon. After we record Seminole headlines, I'm going to get my stitches out. And Aslan's got new countertops. If any of you pillars want to go stay with him, if you're ever going to dare come back to Tallahassee to watch this football team, which you should.
Yes.
They need you. Your head coach needs you. Everybody needs you to come back and watch this football team.
So wait, are you cutting out of town after you get the stitches? You're going to hang around Tallahassee on Tuesday?
No, I'm cutting out of town.
Gosh, it's going to be
Gotta go pick up the little guy.
It's going to be one of those long nights recording the podcast. It's going to be a real wake-up for everybody on Wednesday morning. So
Sorry, buddy.
Nah, your fault. Hey, man, I got game night with the guys. Got to be a nerd. My only socialization, playing video games with my friend over the internet. Friends,
Nice.
plural. I do have more than one.
Right,
I
cool,
can assure
man.
you that. All right, so we spoke to the coaches on Monday, the head football coach, his coordinators. The day highlighted by the exchange between Corey, our own Corey Clark, journalist capital J Corey Clark, and head coach Mike Norvell. About 30 minutes we got him on Monday, but nothing really caught the ear as much as you asking him a totally fair question, him responding in a totally fair and practical manner. I responded to somebody on the boards about, Corey's not going to be getting a Christmas card from Coach Norvell now. It's like, man, it's this stuff's not personal. As long as you don't ask a personal question, any sort of, exchange, man, it's just guys doing their job, and then it's over. Then you talk to them the next day and you ask them another question. So I don't know if you want to let us know where you were at when you're asking this question, then we'll actually play it. But it needed to be asked. It was very legitimate. But, Corey, what were you going into Monday trying to figure out?
So what's the, I was thinking about it. I was like, man, what do we ask this guy? His team actually played hard in the second half. They're just not very good. They're going to be lucky to win 2 or 3 games at the most. And I'm like, so are we going to get in the weeds about, who plays quarterback or receivers stepping up or just Sean Corbin? And we have to write about something. And those are all very topical topics. That's a wonderfully articulate thing to say. But overall, if everybody that wants Florida State to be a good football program knows that it's not really going to change until you get players in here, good players, whether Norvell's here or not. And the hope is that he's here. But his hope is that he's here. But nothing's going to change if this recruiting class falls apart. The rest of the next 3 months, you hope you sprinkle in a couple of wins here or there, is that recruiting class. And so with that in mind, I sit here every day trying to quantify 0-3, 0-2, now 0-4, what this does for the fan base. Well, what does it do for recruits? So that's what I wanted to ask is like, and I do. I'm not lying. I do think this team is better than it was last year. But the record is the record. And so my first question to him was that, and I guess I didn't word it. I worded it incorrectly, or I didn't ask it well enough. But I asked, like, now you are what your record says you are. What is your message to recruits and I guess recruits' families? I can't remember how I worded it. When you might be showing improvement. You're in all these games in the fourth quarter. You're really close to winning a couple of them, but you're 0-4. How do you make recruits believe in the direction of the program? And then he really pivoted off that answer and started talking more about the players on the team. Mm-hmm. I don't even know if he addressed the recruits at all. So he just started talking about the players on the team. The players believe. He loves the fight they show. He knows they're working hard. They're gonna get it right. And so that's why I said if you see the clip on YouTube, it's like 4 minutes long. I don't think we're going to listen to all 4 minutes of it here. But when you see the clip on YouTube, when I'm apologizing when I ask the question again, I say, sorry, Mike, not to belabor the point, but I wanted to get back to the actual recruits.
Right. And
that's what I said is like, how do you sell recruits that this program is getting better even when the record is 0-4? It was not. I did not, because I do think the program's getting better, and I thought I made that apparent. Maybe I didn't in the previous question I asked, but it's not getting better. At breakneck speed by any stretch. And my point was, and I don't know if he took offense to it or not. I really don't. It wasn't an offensive question. It was more like, this is the reality you're having to deal with every time you call one of these kids. Is I know we're 0-4, but I know we're 0-4, but like, and that's what I wanted to know is what's the but there? What comes after the but when you're talking to these kids about this program? And that was the answer we got.
And this is halfway through it. It's 4.5 minutes. We're going to listen to about 3 minutes of it. This is when Mike Norvell
I think
is
you
in
took
a full
out.
lather.
I do want to say what you did take out, which is fine. Go watch it on YouTube. But what you did, and you did it. By the way, Aslan, in the middle of the press conference, you posted that clip.
Yeah.
I don't even know how that happened. So I know you're behind me. Are you at a computer?
Yes. Got my laptop.
So you're not manning the camera at that point. You're sitting down, cutting and trimming and doing all that stuff.
Yeah, we got tripods, Corey. We got tripods these days that can just hold.
Because I think you had that up before Dillingham was even in the room. It seemed like, or close to it.
Yeah.
It got a lot of hits. It got a lot of views. It should. It's a really good message. But right away, his first answer to that, I think the last 2 or 3 minutes is more about the program itself and the players on the team and what he believes. But the first 30 seconds, he does answer he's like, look, they're watching the games too. They see what we see. Basically saying they see they can come in and help. And he wants to recruit kids. He wants to have kids on his team that want to go join a program like this in the sense that they're not afraid of where they're going. They think they can turn it around, and they're not afraid of adversity. Like, yeah, it's easy to go to Alabama when you know you're going to win 11 or 12 games every year. When you want to be a part of something that's going to a turnaround, it shows something maybe about you. If it's not like you're turning down Akron. If you're one of these kids that's turning down Clemson, Georgia, Alabama, Florida to come to Florida State, in Mike Norvell's eyes, that says something about who you are as a person, that you're willing to put in some hard work to turn a program around instead of going to a ready-made product. Anyway, play it there, DJ.
Right, I mean, look, I'm pissed off that we're 0-4. Right, and we can bring up how many years it's been. I don't really that's not, I can't control that. I can control this team at this moment and right now with the opportunity. And so we're going to work our butts off to go get better. And we're going to do it the right way. And we're going to have a standard of how we operate. It's going to be the same standard that we're going to ask them to do in the classroom, the same standard of everything that we do. I'm going to hold myself to it because I got to be the example. And you know what? Does that mean I'm not going to make a mistake? I'll probably make a mistake. Might make one today, might make one tomorrow. But I will respond to that. And so that's the team I want because I've seen it work. I've been a part of teams that, you know what, they've been on a losing streak. They didn't get caught up with all the crap that was on the outside and everybody telling you what you can't do and, this is the issue and that's it. Yeah, it's easy to point at that. But who wants to be a part of the solution? So those are the guys we're going after. And, there's some kids that, man, this program over here, they're well established. They've got, they've got this, they've got that, and you know what? Probably had a lot of continuity. It's probably been, some things that have been in place there for a time. So even when the adversity strikes, there's a quick response to it. We're going through that process. We're setting the foundation. We're doing it the right way. And so I'm excited about the guys that we're recruiting because I'm excited about the guys that say yes. And then when adversity strikes and, oh, man, you've lost a couple games. Is that still what you want to do? Ones that stand up, step out, and those are the guys that you can guarantee are going to be a part of the change in a positive way. And we have those guys here. I have those guys in that locker room right now because it's really easy when it's 31-7, right? Which, you feel it. Like it. I mean, if I was a fan, I'd be pissed off. 31-7. All right, some of them stayed, some of them didn't. But the ones that did got to see a team that came back and responded, right, and played their butts off till the end. Now, were we successful? No, it was a failure. We did not win that game, and that's what we came out. I felt very confident in it. I felt that we were going to put ourselves in a great position. But you know what? We came up short. But they did not stop. They continued to believe. And it's for the guys that we recruit, for the coaches that are on the staff, for the players that are on this team, that's what I want. Because if you have that, then you might get your butt knocked down, but you're going to get up and you're going to respond the right way. Yes, we are 0-4, but we have today. And then, Lord willing, wake up tomorrow, we'll have tomorrow. And what we do with that, man, I've got a lot of confidence in.
All right, thank you, Coach.
You don't want another question? Thank you, guys.
Chef's kiss there on the end, right, Corey? A little added flair on the. All right, is that it? Is that all you got for me?
Well, what was funny is that Ira had because of course he did. Ira has the microphone in his hand more than Krista, who was the one walking around handing it to people. So he had the microphone in his hand when he started his question because he was going to ask something else. And then about halfway through that, he's like, nope. And he just handed it back to Krista like, that's good. So I think that's what maybe Mike had seen that while he was, staring daggers at me. And then realized, well, it would have been crazy if the next question is like, what about Master Mono? How do you think he's doing? Like, you know what I mean? There was nothing left to ask. And that we had already talked to him for about 20, 25 minutes at that point. It had already gone on long. But yeah, man, look, I loved what he said. I think this fan base needs to hear it. I know there's a good portion of this fan base that might roll their eyes and say, yeah, okay, man, we'll see what happens on Saturday.
No, he did good. He did good, even judging by social media. There's a small percentage that, call him a used car salesman, et cetera, et cetera. But no, he won on social media for that on Monday.
Well, I thought it was needed. I certainly wasn't poking the bear. I was asking a legitimate question because I wanted to. The only hope right now for the immediate future of Florida State football is that recruiting class. And honestly, it's something we should be asking about every week. Like, hey, everybody still on board?
Really,
how about this week? No. What about now? Like, have you talked to Travis today? And obviously you can't talk about current recruits, but you guys know what I mean. So that is the story of the next couple of months, in my opinion, is keeping together that recruiting class. And I think that's a great message, man. I think it's look, don't go out and get pummeled on Saturday, but that is a really good message for your fans and for your recruits, and probably even the guys in the locker room. Like he got emotional to the point where it felt like his voice cracked a little bit, and I think it was when he was talking about being 31-7.
And guys
down,
and I got guys in the locker room that are
ready, And look, man, he made a point of talking about how they have gone through a lot of change. This has not been a steady sail for a lot of these guys on that roster. But like, I think he was legitimately proud of. Now, he was proud of him for the Notre Dame game. I hope he wasn't proud of anything in the Jacksonville State game, most of all him and his coaches, or the next game. There was nothing to be proud of there. But this game, after getting, basically blown out by Wake Forest, it wasn't all that competitive in the second half, and then getting down 31-7, I mean, look, man, that's a crossroads of the season, maybe the crossroads of his coaching tenure at Florida State. If you go out and lose to Louisville 55-26 or something, this Louisville team, man, I don't know that you come back from that. And it would be clear that, okay, the players have punted again. Your message gets through to these players just like Willie Taggart's message got through to these players, meaning not at all. So I think he legitimately was very, very proud of those guys and the way they fought and the way the defense just came out and played incredible. Corbin had the big run to start the second half, and then after that it was a dogfight. They were in a real football game after getting blown off the field for the first 28 minutes. So I think he was legitimately proud about that and those guys fighting, because these players have been through a lot. I know nobody wants to feel sorry for football players at a place like Florida State that's won so much, and what did we say they were 3-12 in their last 15? But to be awful last season, to start out this season, you're already 0-3 and you're down 31-7. I mean, man, a lot of teams are like, yeah, this is it. That's a wrap, man. Screw this place. I'm not playing hard. and then they came out and played as hard as they have in years. So yeah, there was something to be genuinely proud about. But more than that, I think I think that message might resonate with fans. It's like, man, yeah, it does help to hear that the head coach is pissed off, because I thought about this a lot when Willie was here too. Like Willie, no offense to the guy, because he's won games. He's clearly a good enough head coach to keep getting jobs, but he was used to losing a lot. He had more losses than he did wins as a head coach. Now, he took over horrible teams and turned them into winners, but he wasn't affected by I don't think it was, and I shouldn't say he wasn't affected. That's not what I meant. It wasn't new territory for him to be on an awful team, for him to be coaching an awful team, because he had done it at South Florida. He had done it at Western Kentucky. Those teams were awful when he took over, and they were awful his first years there. Well, Florida State fans aren't used to this. So when they see these coaches coming from these other lesser programs, an Arizona State, a Memphis, a South Florida, Western Kentucky, and they seem to be kind of staying the course and okay with what's going on. And look, I know we're losing right now, but it's going to get better. I believe in these guys. Man, it's hard for Florida State fans to really feel excited about something like that, because none of us are used to this, right, Aslan? Like, even in the lost decade when you were a student, they didn't get nothing was as close to this bad ever. It's never been like this. So I think Monday, him, whether it was me provoking it or not, him showing that emotion and talking about being pissed off and letting people know he's pissed off, and 0-4 is unacceptable, but he does see a reason for optimism. I just thought he articulated it well. It was so good. It was almost like it was rehearsed, like he had practiced it in front of a mirror, even with like the facial expressions and I'm not saying he did that. I know he didn't, but it was real. If you haven't seen it, go watch it just to see the look. Like, he believes wholeheartedly in what he was saying.
Yeah, that was genuineness. That wasn't coach
he believes
speak,
in that message. Yeah, so he believes in that message, and I think FSU fans needed something like that. They need wins more, but they needed something like that to just know that the head coach really, truly, genuinely believes in what he's doing, believes in his message, the foundation he's laying. Which, man, can we get above like the magma? Can we get above ground with the foundation yet? Or are we still miles deep? But I do think he believes in all that. And I think it helps for Florida State fans, and maybe more importantly recruits, to see that the head coach genuinely believes in what he was saying and what he's building.
It was genuine too, man. And to your point, like, there were some answers. Man, Gene asked him a question 2 weeks ago. I don't even remember what it was, but it was so straightforward. And he's up there stumbling and bumbling, and nothing made sense. It wasn't even the same subdivision answer of what Gene was asking him. And then he was asked about that 4th and short play, or the 4th and 3 play with the direct snap, and that answer went nowhere. I mean, it wasn't even close to giving any kind of coherent answer. And so, like, he's a bit rattled right now, man. I guess that's to your point of him not being used to being in this position of having to handle losses, and especially having to face a media corps that's got so many different people that have been covering a successful program and know what looks like good football, what doesn't look like good football. So when he has to get in these sort of, because he doesn't want to give everything away. He doesn't want to throw guys under the bus, unless I understand that. So, like, when he's answering these questions, he's trying to be diplomatic and walk a fine line. But when you ask him that question, like, he was ready. Like, I don't want to say he snapped, but yeah, I mean, it was like, okay, this has been building up in me. I understand, because the whole 0-4 thing, like, listen, he obviously understands, like, that this team is 0-4 for the first time since he wasn't even alive. Right. So that this was kind of a bit of a cathartic moment for him. Again, man, this could be like the Jim Fossil soundbite when he was with the Giants, when they ended up going to the Super Bowl, but they lost to the Ravens, where he's like, listen, I'm all in. I'm putting my chips in the middle. This team's going to the playoffs. Either you're with me or you're not with me. They could play this clip in 3 years during College game day when Florida State's hosting Florida for a trip to, for a spot in the football playoff. Or, we'll look at it 2 years from now and laugh at it, unfortunately. So, I mean, it's
yes.
It's crazy. I mean, again, I'm not going to get too far into how I think it's going to play out or anything like that. But for today, for this brief moment, and he needs all the wins he can get, at least off the field. He can get them not, Monday through Friday. It did seem that by and large, the fan base liked the message he was delivering and the way he delivered it. So.
Yeah, and I mean, it matters. It matters to try to keep some fans at least near the bandwagon. I mean, not down the road, not at the rest area. I know they're off it, but maybe walking beside it. I don't know. So that I don't think that hurt what happened on Monday. And again, I think the bigger thing is what are you telling recruits?
Yeah.
That your job, your livelihood, and the livelihood of those 10 guys that coach with you depends on getting that class to school and getting a couple more guys that are out there to commit, getting players to overturn this roster from mediocre to good. And that starts with players. You could, I mean, look, if Nick Saban was the coach at Florida State right now, if he had taken over in August, their record would maybe be 2-2. They would have won the Jacksonville State game. I can promise you he has those DBs back. But the talent dictates almost everything. You know, the problem is they're not even hitting their ceiling. It's not like they're coaching well with average talent. They're coaching poorly with average talent, but it's average talent. Even if we think Mike Norvell is just an coach, like an okay coach, if he doubles up the talent, an coach can win 8 or 9 games. You know, do we think Dave Doran is anything special? Well, he's probably going to win 8 or 9 games this year. He just beat Clemson. And it looks like he's got more talent than Florida State, which is incredible, but that's where we live. That's what 2021 is. So you've got to get players on the campus. And that is the story for Florida State football for the next 2 or 3 months, is salvaging this class, figuring out a way to bring in players that can make maybe not an immediate impact because they're going to be true freshmen. A few of them can, but not many. But by 2022, I know nobody wants to hear that. Sorry, 2023, you're set up for a nice run with good players, and you're going to keep stacking good recruiting classes on it. And yeah, like you said, maybe 3 years from now they do play. That's like their Tebow speech. That'll be like Florida State's Tebow speech. You're not going to see any coach recruit harder. You know what I can't remember what Tebow said, but that could be on a plaque outside. Al Dunlap. Whatever they name after Al Dunlap next, you could have a Mike Norvell plaque. It'd be a big one because it was a long speech, but that 4-minute soliloquy from Monday, because he has a vision and he does think he's laying the bricks without the results coming. But back to the point of the question, results probably matter to recruits and their parents and their coaches and their high school coaches that are, or whoever their mentors are that are giving them advice on where to go. 0-4 is still 0-4. So I love that he actually does have a message for him. It seemed like that's got to be what you sell, right? Like you can come in, you can play right away if you're good enough, and look what we're doing. We are better than we were last year. Just look at, I know if you just want to look at the wins and losses, you're not going to see that. But when you look at all these other things, we are playing better. We're closer. We're getting closer. And you could be the class that turns it around, and you could go down in Florida State history as like LaMarcus Joyner. Now, LaMarcus Joyner was a great football player too, but he gets so much credit for that 2013 team because he was willing to sign. He was the first guy to commit to Jimbo as the head coach. This whole class could get that kind of treatment if they end up coming, number one, and turning this into anything that's halfway respectable.
I like how he has his guys that are willing to stand up and step out. Like that, he said that twice in that. So that's part of his. We're getting a glimpse at what he's telling these kids when he's speaking to them. Because that's
a real
all
thing. I would say,
and it's a real thing. I mean, that just shows you it's a real thing that he realizes they're hearing that. And for a kid to come here right now under these circumstances is a kid that's willing to step up and step out. What I do wonder, though, is so when this thing has continuity, he points to the things that other programs have that have led to them being successful. So what happens when this program is successful? Do the kids that come here, are they just looking for the easy way? They're looking for the layup? How does that work? How are you going to kind of pivot?
Well, right. Then you go back to recruiting the 2-star kids, the kids that are just happy to be at Florida State. I don't know. Wouldn't it be nice to get there and see Aslan?
Yeah,
Let's cross that bridge when we get there. But I think that's got to be the message. And look, Travis Hunter might be just a completely unique kid where it doesn't matter what's going on at all. He is 100% in. He is not going anywhere else. But again, I pointed this out. He's 30 miles from Athens, Georgia. Have you seen the product in Athens, Georgia this year? And then you've seen the product in Tallahassee. There's a lot of pressure and a lot of pull for that kid. And it might be, maybe not internally, but even people close to him. They'll be like, man, why don't you just go up the road? Just go up the road. You're gonna get to play for championships. Why would you want to go there? But that's the message, like you're talking about, that Norvell has to be sending to guys like him and AJ Duffy and the other 4 or 5-star the 4-star recruits they have. It's like, yeah, we know all these others. You want to go help Nick Saban win number 12, number 14? What is he up to now? 8?
Yeah,
I don't know how many national.
But what if you help Kirby win the first one in 40 years, though?
Sure, that's something that's a little. I get it. That could be a little bit alluring, especially if they say they sell that you're the missing piece. But, man, you also look, man, the kids want to play too. And that Georgia team is flipping stacked on defense especially. They just got 4 and 5 stars everywhere. It's like Florida State used to be, where there's no guarantee of playing time. And, maybe Norvell's message resonates. Like, yeah, you can come here. You can turn it around. Look what we're doing. Like, I know the record is the record. But look at what we're doing. Look how we played Notre Dame last year. Look how we played them this year. Look at the score of the Louisville game last year. Look what we did to them in the second half this year. Like, look at this stuff, man. This stuff matters. We are getting better. You're seeing it. You're not seeing it in the wins and losses, but you're seeing it. And that's what I would appeal to. You're a smart enough kid to realize it's more than just wins and losses. It's how they're playing. It's the improvement that you're seeing. And AJ, buddy, I know you see that improvement, man. Look at how many. Look, you get to play with just Sean Corbin. You get the Sean gone backfield. You need to come to Tallahassee. Like that's what you're selling, and you're also selling. Yeah, you get to be a part of. Yeah, you get to stand out. You get to be the kid that doesn't take the easy route, quote unquote, to go to Georgia or Clemson or Alabama, where you'll just be one of 3 dozen 5-star kids, 4 or 5-star kids. You come to Florida State, to a place that really needs you. And you can help turn a program around instead of just be another passenger on a ship cruising, happily along in the ocean.
MyBookie.ag is where you should go if you want to play the games. Put some money down, win some money. MyBookie.ag, use that promo code WARCHANT if you're a first-time customer. They will double your initial deposit straight up right there on the spot. With that said, I apologize to our loyal listeners. I failed you. I went 2 for 3 last week. I didn't get them all wrong. At Liberty Syracuse, I said take the over, hit the under. But then I had Notre Dame beating Wisconsin within the spread when they actually won it straight up. And I had my guy Brett Bielema in Illinois. I think he lost by 4. It was like an 11-point spread, so I apologize. So we're going to turn to Corey then here. There is one, though, I want named Troy University in Alabama.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They lost to our guy Terry Bowden. In Louisiana Monroe, who's not a good team. And they're only getting 7 points against South Carolina. And it's in Columbia. I feel like South Carolina's going to clobber them. But nonetheless, Corey, what do you think about Florida State right now, 4.5 points favorite over Syracuse? Would that be on your card?
You know what? Yeah. They're due number 1. And, I didn't have any real feel about the Louisville game. But I do have a feel for this game. I think they're going to play well. I think they're going to play hard because they know it's a legitimate chance to get a win. And as long as they don't get down by flipping 3 scores like they do every week, if they can keep it close, and then that second half defense gets cranked up. But no, I do think they're going to play well. I think Syracuse might be a little bit, but they haven't played they played well. They've got really good defensive numbers, but they haven't played a very tough schedule yet. So maybe they're a little inflated. And, I think Florida State's going to win this thing, man. I think they can win by, 10 to 14 points. I like the Noles. I haven't really liked them in any game this year other than Jacksonville State, so take it for what it's worth. But I like them, and I didn't like them to cover that, by the way. I like Florida State to cover here. I feel confident with the Noles. Right. And next week we'll know if you should pull the anti-Corey like you do the anti-Aslan. Just go, whatever I say, go the other way. But I like the Noles to cover.
2 more. Let's keep it tight. They pay us money, but they don't pay us that much money.
Sure.
Arkansas is catching 18. Georgia favored by 18 against the Hogs.
Arkansas. I think Georgia will win, but it's going to be a lot of, flipping Briles. He's going to try to go 100 miles an hour, which is going to make a lot of possessions in that game, and that's not good if you're trying to take the points. I still like Arkansas to be within 18, so take the Hogs.
And then the ACC Atlantic Championship, Boston College at Clemson. Clemson favored by 15.5. Halfley, baby. Take the Eagles. Come on, Corey.
You got to. That seems like a crazy. I mean, I know the thought is like Clemson won't play that poorly again, but it's 3 times out of 4 games their offense just isn't good. Maybe. So yeah, I'll take the Eagles. I'll take the Eagles plus 15.5.
MyBookie.ag. Again, use that promo code WARCHANT. All right, Corey, you wrote a story about the defense. Because I guess going into this press conference, we thought the defense is going to be – because it was. Listen, man, the way the defense played was just absurd. It was the quintessential Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. Let's, go ahead and just drop boxes off at Fuller's office during halftime just so he can at least get, things ready for him and his family to relocate. And then 30 minutes later, you're like, well, that wasn't too bad. So what were you able to glean from what – Adam Fuller discussed? Again, man, get it, everybody. None of us are happy. We were 0-4, and it hasn't looked good, a lot of it. Other than the Notre Dame game. Even the second half of Louisville couldn't make up for how horrible the first half was. Wake Forest just felt toothless and no real fight in them. I'm not saying they were quitting or anything, but it never seemed like they were going to get back in that game and be able to win. And then Jacksonville State is Jacksonville State. But, man, I laugh every now and then when we talk to him on Monday, or I smile, rather, just because it's kind of cool. He's very candid, and I like talking to him, but I would like to win much more. Listen, I could get yelled at by the coach. Every single, like, this jerk-off's out. He could say that every time. Every time I grab the mic, we're like, this guy again. As long as we're winning, I don't care. But if we are going to be 0-4, at least we get to talk to a pretty nice guy. I do like the way he responded to you, kind of asking about, can you build off what you did in the second half? Can you use that and carry it over against Syracuse? And he's like, well, man, that's he's like, it's like 6 days away. What do you want from me? Oh, he's like, I'll find out tomorrow at practice, which is today when we talk to it. But again, I just tripped over myself. What were you able to glean from what he told us on Monday?
Well, not a lot, but the column I wrote was basically saying, that's what I went on Monday to find out, or at least that was my mission, was to ask Fuller, like, what was the difference, to get tangible reasons why it was so good. And the only answer that Norvell, but then it turned into the Norvell, death stare for 4 minutes, and that became the story of the day, which was cool. It was an awesome moment. But when it came to Fuller, I did ask the questions I wanted to ask. And it basically just came down to third downs, right? Like, he did mention confidence, and he did say, which I thought was, insightful, in obviously kind of understood anyway, but, they'd given up some deep plays earlier in the year, and then the very first drive, they give up another one. And then all of a sudden, guys start not wanting to get beat deep. They start pressing because they're already in a hole again. They already look like trash again. And you're like, okay, here we go again. Like that start was just not what they needed. But mainly he just lamented the third downs. Just didn't matter. 3rd and 6, 3rd and 9, 3rd and 3. They could not get off the field. And, he did say, he's like, that's the plan, is to carry it over. The momentum that they should have from Saturday is to carry over. And he said, he's like, confidence is supposed to come through hard work. That's where you get your confidence. But it also has to come through, like, success on the actual field. And Saturday was the first real time they had actual success. That second half. That was the guys made play after play after play for an entire half to keep their foot shooting offense in the game enough that they actually had a chance to go tight at the end. That was all on the defense in the second half. So it should carry over. That confidence should carry over because they've actually done it in games now. They've dominated a Division I opponent who was trying to score and is used to scoring a lot of points and has scored a bunch of points in the second halves of games. They dominated them in the second half. Straight up dominated them.
And I believe that. And you believe that too, right? Like Louisville tried to continue to move the ball. There's several people that are saying that.
That's crazy. It was an 11-point game with 14:46 to go in the third quarter. You're telling me Louisville's just going to throttle down like, we got this. Let's just not make any mistakes. Of course not.
Yeah,
They didn't
I agree with you.
Florida State had just scored on its previous 2 drives. They had just scored 2 touchdowns on 2 drives in like 70 seconds total. So there's no chance Louisville's like, hey, this 31's enough. Let's just run out the street. No, man, they're trying. They even went for it on a 4th down, and they didn't get it. Which I think was after Norvell going for it on 4th down, wasn't it? Like I think they exchanged 4th down misses there. So Florida State ended up getting the ball kind of back where it had it anyway. But that's beside the point. That's the key to me. And I didn't phrase it well when I asked them the question, but the key to this whole season to me, if there's going to be any hope at all for his future, but also just if you can feel good about the direction of that unit, is can they build off that second half? Can they build off that second half and put together a couple of nice performances? We're not expecting 1993 around here, but can you build on that and not just get obliterated for entire halves anymore? Can that confidence carry over from week to week? Because it didn't from the Notre Dame game at all. That was another side of the ball. But the offense, you would have thought, would have had all the confidence in the world after the Notre Dame game. Putting up 18 in the fourth quarter, 24 in the second half, being really close to winning that game. You would have thought that would have carried over, and then Jacksonville State would have been run off the field. They drop a pass, all of a sudden it's Florida State again. I wonder, that's why I'm really, really interested in what this defense looks like. They're going to give up some points because it's Florida State. They're not going to shut anybody out. But if they hold them to, I don't know, 17, 300 yards, they don't just give up a ton of third downs, and if they hit like they were hitting, if they play physical like they were playing, if Jarvis Brownlee and company are coming up and making plays on the outside and making one-on-one tackles and not letting guys, not getting beat for one-on-one plays down the middle of the field like they were all the first half, that's something you can build on and be like, okay, there's some bricks being laid here. This isn't a good team. Don't make any bowl trip plans. But there's some bricks being laid where you can see some real progress. That it would be, because think about how disheartening it would be, Aslan, if they came out and gave up another 28 in the first half to Syracuse. Don't you just throw your hands up then and say, I don't believe in any of you.
Well,
None.
The problem with that, too, is that Syracuse runs the ball. So if they have success, Syracuse is going to have success running the ball, which is going to be that much more sort of psychologically scarring to this
Yes,
team.
right? And it's just like, okay, I don't believe in you guys. I just don't. I want to believe in you. You give me hope, and then you keep ripping it away. It's what happened after the Notre Dame game with not just the end of the Jacksonville State game, the whole Jacksonville State game was the complete antithesis of what I thought we were going to see, what I thought they were going to build on from the Notre Dame game. And if they come out Saturday against Syracuse, win or lose, you better win. Please win. But win or lose, if the defense comes out and just gets torched by an average offense at best, it's like, okay, well, we just can't count on you to string anything together. There's nothing. That 30 minutes was an anomaly. Right now, that 30 minutes against Notre Dame for the offense was an anomaly. All the other halves are what this Florida State offense really is. That second half against Notre Dame was just like an out-of-body experience. Let's see if that second half against Louisville was actually something, was actually something you can build on, it was real, or if it was just 30 minutes of an out-of-body experience.
I want to talk about the offense kind of real quickly before we go, but I mean, since we're on this sort of subject, I mean, I know what he says to us in the media is different than what he's telling the team, but I have to feel there's some parallel there. And especially the way that Louisville game started, the way it finished, and him, again, unsolicitedly bringing up all-in sort of factor of the players that he has in that locker room, that they have to have a small sample of what he gave us, the media, on Monday. They've had to feel in the locker room. And not kind of like being berated, but just feeling the urgency of this matter, feeling the gravity of this 0-4 start. Is there a possibility that they're going to put too much on these guys? I don't know if that's maybe the right way to ask this, Corey, but I'm just saying this feels way more important than a game against middling Syracuse in the middle of, it'll be October by then, I guess. Like, this game shouldn't have a lot of importance. Looking at it on the schedule going to the season, it was like, okay, this is probably a win. This is going to be one of those bricks, if you will. It's going to help you kind of get back to a bowl game, maybe. Once you lose to Jacksonville State and you lose to Wake Forest and you start looking at how bad the season can be, it's just, I don't know how important anything really is. It's like, all right, maybe just at least look good against your rivals. But is there that kind of risk reward? Because if you do put all this sort of importance, if you do challenge these kids and talk about how important it is to respond and backs against the wall, and if they do go out and play a really good game against Syracuse, I do think you can totally build off that and end this season much better than we thought 6-7 days ago. But man, if you do set it up in this sort of, World War II is a must-win, this is just a rung below it. I mean, with a team that's still kind of fragile. They're still young in some spots. They don't know how to win. I think even Kenny Dillingham said that to a certain degree. Could this be you're almost setting yourself up for real potential disaster if you push this button right now and you can't deliver?
Hey, man, it's already the Hindenburg. It's already been a disaster. What does it matter at this point? No, I think that, by the way, do you know a bunch of people survived that, the Hindenburg?
No way. Really?
Yeah, like half of the people. Like I did a whole wormhole thing on it. I don't know why. I started looking it up. They had you could sleep on it. It was like a travel blimp that started in Europe.
A dirigible.
And was a dirigible, as we call it back in the day. And they had sleeping quarters and a bar. And so anyway, there was this huge. If you look at it, you can see on the bottom of the blimp area, there's like this. It's like almost like a train car, where people could sleep in anything. But anyway, when you see the footage, you see people jumping out. Like they jumped out before it all caught on fire. It was a long jump, but I think like half of them survived. Yeah, I mean, still, it was the horror. I got it, but it's still a few people survived. But there's your little Hindenburg. It's not just football here. You get history on Wake Up Warchant. But I don't think so, man. I think. What I'm interested in, I think you just try to build confidence, right? Like, and they should have confidence. For the first time this season, this defense should, because they didn't have it going in the Notre Dame game. How could they? They were on the team last year. They probably had a little bit of belief, but they didn't know they could be good. You know what I mean? Like, they didn't know they could be a good defense. And there's nothing that happened through the first 3 weeks necessarily that made them think or know they could be a good defense. Well, that second half Saturday, they now know they can be a good defense. They should believe in themselves more than they have in a long, long time. And confidence is a big deal. And I do that's why I don't think you look, guys, you got to win this game. Play like you did Saturday against Louisville. You have to. Otherwise, I just think you coach how you coach. You don't change the message. But the players' mindset should have changed. They just should have. I mean, it's like Trayshawn Ward, I don't know how much confidence he had in himself coming into this season. He had done it in practice. He had a game against he played against Arizona State, right?
Yes. Ran him quite well, too.
Yeah. So, but he had moments, but he didn't know if he could be this guy. Well, now he goes into every game probably thinking he's the best player on the field because he's done it in games. Well, now this defense has done it in a game. It was only one half of one game. The other half happened too, and you talk about a horror show. But that second half happened, and I don't think you stress like you got to play like that the rest of the year. This is the biggest game of your lives, things like that. I just think you coach how you coach, and you show the film, which I'm sure they have. It's like, look, this is what you guys can be. When you do what you're supposed to do, and every one of you wins a battle, a one-on-one battle, they couldn't move on you guys. So let's do that again. Let's try that again and see how it works. But I just think they'll come out with more confidence, and that's why I think the first half of that game is so – if Syracuse just does what Wake and Louisville did, just hits a big play right out of the gate, and then another big play, converts 3 straight third downs, it'll be here we go again. Why does this keep happening? Why can't y'all build off anything? But if they come out and get a couple of stops, maybe force a turnover, for heaven forbid, in the first quarter, then, man, they might really think they're a good defense. They aren't. But they might think they're a good defense, and that's important too.
Yeah, I mean, there's no reason to think I don't know if there's reason to think they'll quit. They've had every
not quit, just play well, right?
No, but I'm just saying.
Well.
Back to the sort of the crux of the spirit of the question, just in terms. Because I mean, you keep pushing this and you keep asking these guys to invest in buy-in, and they, by all indications, they are. But if they don't get the results, there's going to be a point. They're 20-year-old kids. Hell, like I'm a grown man. I'm not quite 40 yet. But like I would check out after a while. Like I mean, all right, I trust your vision. I'm buying in. I'm doing all the hard work. Man, this is week 5. It's not clicking. It's not just week 5. It's actually week 14 of being a player underneath your leadership. And man, this ain't working. There's going to be a time and place where guys are going to not be able to constantly kind of dig in and find that added gear. But they talked about like, hey, playing hard, not quitting is the minimum, which we shouldn't. Which they've said that multiple times, and we really need to stop celebrating it. It's refreshing to hear, cool, but we should probably stop celebrating it.
Well, what else are we going to celebrate?
Yeah, you're right.
At least don't you think they're not, maybe likable's not the word, but as Norvell said in that, I guess we didn't have that part. I don't remember hearing that when you played the clip back about how some people left at halftime.
Yeah,
but the ones that stayed got to see a team that played hard and got back in the game. I will say this about this team through 4 games at least is they're a little more. Last year's team was bad. The year before that was bad. 18 was awful. But hey, 5 wins, right? Good grief, what we wouldn't give for 5 wins now. But I think this team is more. Maybe likable is the right word. Easier to cheer for because they do play hard. At least they do hit. They are physical. They don't just quit and melt. Now we're only 4 games in. Let's see if I'm saying the same thing in November. But through 4 games, that Louisville game, yeah, man, that's a game where we've seen it for the last 5 years around here. That 31-7 usually becomes 55-10 or 55-20, and they actually fought back. They got up, like Jermaine Johnson said. You can either cower in the corner and keep getting punched on, or you can get up and start swinging. And at least they did that. Now, how about knocking somebody out? Figuratively, folks. We're not about violence on this show. I just looked it up, by the way.
Pacifist.
So 35 people died in the Hindenburg, but 62 survived. There were 97 people on board.
Why would you travel in that medium or that mode of transport? Like, it's not going fast. Like, what's the point? Was it cheaper than getting on a plane? I'm sure it was. I'm sure it's probably some sort of elite outing. Like, what was the point?
I assume it was just like the novelty of it. Like, you get to, imagine being in that thing over the Atlantic Ocean for what? I don't know, 20 days? Like, how long does it take a blimp to go over the Atlantic Ocean?
I didn't even know what its path was. I didn't even realize it was going.
Yeah, I think it came from Europe. Jeez. I'm looking at the Wikipedia. Yeah. By the way, it left from Germany, which is crazy. The Ira has ridden in that before. I think before, one of the games where Florida State used to play in the big games, so the blimps would be here. Goodyear offered the media to ride in one.
Ira to go in one. On it?
Yeah, Ira. I think Tim Linnefelt did too. And I would never do it in a million years. I'm like, are you crazy? No chance. But it lifts off like the space shuttle, like nose up.
Really?
Like it's tied down. Like they have the ropes that are tying it down, and then it like I thought it must like lift off like parallel to the ground. I don't know how I thought it would do that. But no, it's straight up like you're sitting in the space shuttle. Your back is to the ground, and then you go up like that, and then you level off. How scary does that sound, man? Are you kidding me?
I still can't believe Ira. I figured I don't want to deal with this foolishness. I'll pass. I guess you just want to scratch
Ira
off the bucket
did it.
list.
Maybe I dreamed that. I think Ira did it. I'm pretty sure he did. But anyway, that's enough blimp talk. Over to Dillingham real quick.
Yeah, but first, though, if you're interested in investing in cryptocurrencies but you're not sure where to get started, you came to the right place. Go to Kraken. They have an app. It's the Kraken app. With that app, you can buy and sell over 50 of the most popular cryptos like Ethereum, Doge, and Bitcoin, all on the go, all the time. It's super easy to get started. You just got to download that app, the Kraken app, create an account. You can invest in minutes, and you only need a few dollars to get started and get your feet wet, and then realize, oh, wow, this is easy. I can profit. I can create an empire, all because of the Kraken app. Thanks, Wake Up Warchant. Find out for yourself why Kraken has been one of the highest rated places to buy crypto for the last 10 years. It's got a good track record. Visit kraken.com/warchant to learn more or search for Kraken, Kraken, in the App Store. With Dillingham, and I get it, man. He feels like we're attacking him, kind of. We're not.
I liked his disposition on Monday. I thought he was. Well,
this is what I
don't think he was combative.
Yeah, his disposition maybe didn't bother me, but what is him kind of? We just got to put it all together. Like one day, 1 week it's the penalties. We got rid of the penalties, but the other week it's the turnovers. We got rid of the turnovers. We got to put it all together. What team outside of Alabama puts it together in all 3 phases, in all ways, for 60 minutes? Like, if that's the recipe for how this team is going to have to win, then we're going to go 0-12. There has to be times where, all right, the defense is not going to play well, but the offense is going to find a way to put 42 points on the board. or the offense is going to be sluggish, but the defense can create some turnovers, maybe give them a short field, hold the opposition to under 30, and win a game. Like, him explaining this, like, we're so close, it's all going to come together. I don't know when, but it will. Like, so is that the roadmap for success with you guys? Like, everything has hit on all cylinders. It's admirable. I get it. Like, that's the easiest way to success. Everybody does their job. Everyone does their part. But how often does that really happen? When you're like even like an 8-9 win team, you're going to eke out some wins where things kind of go your way. Like, not even luck or the bounce of the ball, but just, man, one segment was able to kind of make up for the other. That's how things, I mean, come on. Like, is that the only way you win? Like, every single week, every single segment needs a hit at 100% efficiency? Like, that was like, come on, Kenny. Come on, man. Work with me here. Give me something else.
Well, so the specific things he was talking about was, they had been struggling on 3rd and short. They were actually good on 3rd and short. They were actually good on short yardage on Saturday. And then he said
other than
that,
4th and 3, other than a pivotal 4th
correct,
and 3.
yeah. And then he said that, the things that have been killing them were turnovers, penalties, and short yardage. Well, Saturday, they didn't have any turnovers, except the one at the very, very end, and they didn't have any penalties. Really, I think they had 2 the whole game. But they couldn't do anything.
We still
they had
couldn't
negative
score.
plays.
He said we still couldn't score.
Yeah, he's like, we have to avoid turnovers, we have to avoid penalties, we have to avoid negative plays. And they kept getting negative plays on first down. It was 2nd and 13, 2nd and 12. And so he's like, that's what he was saying when he just can't put it all together. Like, if it's not turnovers, it's negative plays. If it's not negative plays, it's third down conversions. If it's penalties, penalties are killing them, or negative plays are killing them.
You're getting $600,000, man. Find a way to overcome 2nd and
Sure.
12. It's not the end of the world.
Well, right. There's some. Yes, agreed. I just think he was mainly explaining how they can get so many yards, whatever they ended up with, 400 and something yards, in 2 touchdowns or whatever it was, 3 touchdowns. How does that keep happening? That they can put up yards, they can keep outgaining these teams week to week, but really struggle to put the ball in the end zone, and it's because of that. And I want to say, like, man, that's Florida State, dude. You got to get used to this. You're the one that has to figure out how to get them to stop doing that. How to stop having a missed assignment after Corbin runs 38 yards. The very next play, you're the one that gives the guy to the ball. The ball to the guy that just ran 40 yards and is exhausted. You're the one that decides to do that, and then he loses 4 yards. Now, it wasn't blocked well, but a fresh Trayshawn Ward maybe doesn't get tackled behind the line by the first guy. But Corbin's exhausted. He just ran 40 yards. And then, that happens a good bit, a bit too much for my taste. But more than anything, it's the first down killed them on Saturday. They were always in 2nd and 12. Always. The whole game. Even after they'd hit a 40-yard run, 26-yard run, a big pass. The next play, Milton trips over the grass, and it's 2nd and 16. And that's the end of the drive.
That's a wrap.
That's a wrap. Might as well punt. If you got 2nd longer than 8, you might as well punt. I go look that up. I bet the drives, the series where they've had 2nd and longer than 8, I bet they're getting a first down 7% of the time. It's just that's lights out for this offense right now. But he's really perplexed, and I don't mean perplexed like I don't know how to coach, I don't know what I'm doing. Everywhere he's been, the teams he's on have been able to score points. They've been able to. The yards have led to points. You know what I mean? The production of the yardage has correlated with the points on the scoreboard, and it's just not happening here. And you could tell he's just like banging his head against the wall. Like, how does this? We keep moving up and down the field. We have good plays. We go from 30 to 30, and then the Florida State stuff starts happening. There's a saying. I'm sure not many of you are on Twitter or in the North Carolina area, but it's called NC State blank. NC State is when NC State, the football team, the basketball team, the baseball team, whatever happens, always finds a way to lose even when things are going well. Something derails a season, something derails a game. The kick that the kid missed to win the game against Clemson on Saturday, that would be classified as NC State blank, except they came back and won. Well, it's to the point now it's just the Florida State blank. Like, yeah, you can gain 500 yards and put up 2 touchdowns. Even Dillingham was like, the math doesn't add up. How? And it's like he still hasn't gotten adjusted to Florida State blank. Like, these kids right now, these players, for whatever reason, are going to have a false start when there's no reason to have a false start. They're going to line up incorrectly after doing it right 7 plays in a row. The 8th time, they're going to have a missed assignment and be confused. That's your job to coach it out of them because it's in there, and it's not going to go away with an exorcism. You've got to figure out a way to get this out of their system. But this keeps happening. It has happened now through 4 different offensive coordinators. They just can't get out of their own way. You know? And they have 2 good running backs. They have a good running game. They have one of the best running games in the country. And they're still, 88th in scoring offense, 100th. I don't know what they are, but they're terrible. And hopefully that changes. My favorite exchange, probably my favorite exchange other than the Norvell one of the whole day was when I asked Dillingham about that play, the pass to McDonald. Did you remember that play, by the way?
No.
So they had run the thing with where Pokey would go in motion, and then it seemed like it was a counter with Ward going the opposite way. In fact, I think it's what they scored on the first play, where remember the whole side of the field was wide open.
Yes.
Like Trayshawn could have cartwheeled into the end zone.
Right.
Then they ran that in the second quarter like 3 times in a row and got positive yards on it. Then they set it up again. Pokey goes in motion. They fake the handoff. And then it's supposed to be a pop pass to Cam McDonald, who has blocked all these plays in a row and now is releasing downfield on what should be a long pass. But the safety does a great job of seeing him take off. At least that was my opinion. The safety saw it. It caught my eye because it didn't seem like something a Florida State defender would even think about in the moment. Like the Florida State defender, and this might be unfair. A Florida State linebacker or safety in that moment would think, oh, they're running the play again. Oh, they're running it right there. Let me trigger downhill and try to make this play in the backfield. And I know that tight end ran past me going really fast, but I'm not sure what that was about. Let me go make this play in the backfield. That doesn't bother me. There's got to be somebody else back there. But this safety saw Cam McDonald take off down the field and ran with him, and then Milton tried to lob it like a soft toss 30 yards downfield, and McDonald reached out with one hand and couldn't get it. Well, I thought it was a great play by the safety, just a great recognition by the safety. So I asked Dillingham about it. Is that just a safety making a great play? And he goes, well, no, our running back lined up on the wrong side. And when he lined up on the wrong side, that brought that safety down to be in that position where the tight end is the guy he's covering. And if he would have been on the right side of the formation where he was supposed to be, that safety isn't there, and then that's going to be a touchdown. And I'm like, oh, man, well, I'm sorry I brought that up. You know what I mean? But you could tell he was just despondent. Like, how does that happen? But again, that's on you, bud. That it's your job to coach them better where they don't make those mistakes. But I just thought it was funny that I don't ever ask about specific plays. But that one just caught my eye because it looked like a great design and a great play call, especially off all the action they had run earlier in the game where they'd had success with it, that should have been a long completion. And he's like, oh, yeah, it was going to be a touchdown. And our guy lined up on the wrong side of the formation for some reason. I was like, oh, well, there you go. That's Florida State blank for you.
Well, let's go see if they can coach some of it out. They'll be practicing this morning. We'll be out there, myself, Ira, Austin, Corey. Are you going to grace? I know Corey's got to get these stitches. Well, no, you're going to stitches after headlines. So, yeah, you'll be out there.
I'll be there for a little bit. I don't want to sweat. It's tough to sweat, so I don't like to be out there for 2.5 hours. But I'll get out there for a little bit. I'll be out there for interviews. All
right, we'll check it out. We'll do a podcast for you folks on Wednesday. It'll most likely be Renegade Express. It'll be your questions heavily driving us. We do appreciate it. Makes our lives much easier. And it's great. You guys ask questions. You want it, you got it. And then we'll do our live show Wednesday evening for you all. But in the meantime, 1 to 3 p.m., live on YouTube, live on 93.3 FM, the Seminole Headlines with Corey, Ira, and Jeff Cameron, or Jeff, Ira, and Corey, or however you want to put them in order in your heart's mind and content. Nonetheless, we're done. Good job, Corey. Way to deliver at the press conference. Way to deliver in this hour podcast. It has been.
I tried, buddy. I tried.
Yeah. All right. We're done. It's Wake Up Warchant. It's fueled by DeLuna Coffee. Goodbye. Come explore our world of coffee. DeLuna Coffee features over 24 different blends. DeLuna's unique roasts can be delivered ground finely for drip coffee makers, coarse for the craft crowd, untouched as a whole bean, or even in convenient K-Cups. Founded in 2014 by the Lemmix family, Ed and Brett are FSU alums and boosters who are extending a special offer to all listeners. Use the promo code WARCHANT15 for a 15% discount. Visit DeLunaCoffee.com and check out their Facebook and Instagram.